Next, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make the motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's adopted. Next, we move on to public comments. Are there any public comments? Hearing none, no scheduled appearances. Next, we'll have the consent agenda. The following matters may be acted upon by the city council utilizing a single vote. Individual items which any member wishes to address in greater detail or as a separate item on the regular agenda may be removed from the consent agenda upon the request of any council member. We just have the minutes from the regular city council meeting on October 11th, 2023.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's approved. Who's talking?
Sergeant Scheller.
Oh, John. Okay, next we move on to the business agenda. Mayor's report, just a couple things to talk about. We'd like to send some congratulations. Durand Arkansas High School is sending 2 kids to state in cross country, Zane Richardson and Connor Davidson. I believe one's a freshman, one's a sophomore, in fact. And they will be representing the Panthers this weekend. Wisconsin Rapids is where state is, but we obviously like to recognize those accomplishments and wish them the best of luck. Also mentioning, and I'm assuming the chief will mention it, the trunk or treat event coming up. I'm guessing according to the forecast that 70 and sunny we had last year for it's probably not going to happen. They're going to be doing that, but again, it should be nice. Just dress a little warmer. And, I think hopefully people will still enjoy it, even though it's going to be slightly chillier than it was last year. Okay, that's all I've got. Any questions? Hearing nothing came off the consent agenda. Administrator Rasmussen.
Just a couple items as well, actually just touching on the budget a little bit. So the Finance Committee did meet on Monday evening and basically recommended a budget to the City Council to be talked about at the public hearing on the 15th of November. That will be published in the paper tomorrow. We'll put a few more sites to it as well. Just kind of a real quick summary. The budget itself actually increased by about 35% over last year, almost exclusively due to the Madison Street project that's in the budget and some other road work, and then a little bit from the standpoint of the Finance Committee did approve, or I should say did recommend the funding for an additional police officer. I'll let Chief Ridgway talk about the committee level that we discussed tonight, but obviously that was in the budget. So obviously with a big increase of that nature, the vast majority of it is obviously borrowing. So when we get down to kind of the nitty gritty of what the levy looks like, so the total city levy for next year rose 5.2%. As we talked about, most of that was in the TIF related TIF district due to the Quick Trip building that finally hit the tax levy in full for this year. So again, city levy, well, it's about a 5.2% increase. The thing that most people care about is the mill rate, the assessed mill rate. That increased from $7.70 to $7.91 within the city, a 2.68% increase. So I think it's, again, my opinion, that's a pretty manageable increase. Frankly, less than inflation and less than the increase in Social Security that was announced here just recently. Clearly we'll talk more when we get to the budget hearing on the 15th, but I do want to thank all the staff members for the input in getting this putting this budget together. For me, of doing this for decades now, frankly it gets to be kind of a pretty simple project that just I've just gotten down, but again, I certainly understand, especially for some of our newer folks, the ambulance side of things. We spent a lot more time this year talking through on them, and I hope that all the city staff that's involved, all of our department heads, get a little bit out of it every year, and certainly it's their time to kind of, the spotlight is on everyone during the budget season, so Fair to say in our smaller community, police, fire, ambulance get a chance, basically every other meeting to speak, but in a lot of cases, this is a time for issues to be brought up and things to be noted. So thank you on that, and I also thank obviously the council and Mayor Karen Milliron and all the extra work that you guys put in. The committee's meeting on these items, especially when some of our bigger ones like Public Works and Public Safety, where we have a lot of discussion items, and obviously finance as well. So again, I hope you guys found we're not quite there yet, but the process is pretty much complete to a degree. And so I hope you found it a worthwhile experience and hopefully a learning experience. And if there's anything that you'd like to see done differently, you can certainly bring up to me, but you probably won't be dealing with me next budget cycle. So.
And one thing about it is that's what we're publishing.
Yep.
But remember, we can make some
Clearly make changes again. That's just
as far as the levy, we're probably about where we would
close,
be.
yeah.
But as far as the budget, a few things we might have between now and then. Health insurance comes up, we may have to. But again, because everything isn't final until we approve the final resolution to approve the budget and the mill rate for taxes. So.
And even just a reminder that part of the reason we have to get this published so early too is you have to have a 15-day publication to get out to the public to notice. That's statutory. And the way the newspaper falls, we got to get it out almost a week earlier than that. So from that standpoint, it's we've got about 21 days from this point to talk about the final budget. But that's not to say that things couldn't change and we couldn't adjust accordingly if necessary. So. But again, thank you all.
Any questions for the administrator? Hearing none, move on to public safety. Chief Ridgway.
Just have a couple of things. The mayor touched on the trunk or treat from 3 to 5 on Saturday. The weather's not going to be the best, but we'll see. Hopefully we have a good turnout. So we did get one complaint from a business owner about it shutting down some of her business for that event. So that's something we'll bring up. I had mentioned at the last time when you guys approved that we hadn't had any complaints, but that came in after everything was approved. So we'll address that and see. I plan on bringing it up. We have a meeting for like open in-talks and things like that. I plan on bringing it up to the business owners that attend those meetings and just make sure that they're okay with us having this on Main Street. It brings a lot of people to town, I understand that, but if it's negatively affecting businesses, Christina and I talked, and we'll make sure that if it is, we'll try to come up with a different plan. So we'll kind of play it by ear for next year and see what people want. If they want it to continue to be on Main Street, great. Works out well for us, but if they want us to move it, we'll definitely look at moving it next year. But for this year, it's on Main Street from 3 to 5. Hopefully we get a great turnout, even though the weather's not going to be the best. So I'd like to report that we had Bauer Built made an amazing donation to our therapy dog program. So I want to thank them. We'll get some stuff posted here eventually, but they made a $10,000 donation to our program, which puts us close to our 5-year budget mark that we had established. So between them, Chippewa Valley Vet Clinic, heard from them this week. They're going to provide free vet care other than we'll have to pay for the vaccinations. So we've got the vet care taken care of. We started ordering some of our supplies that we need. Our pickup date is going to be November 22nd for our dogs. So we're excited about that. We'll start after it gets settled in at Brandon's house, and we'll immediately start to take it out into the public, getting it used to people. He'll be taking it when he goes to Shields and businesses that allow dogs and just kind of get it familiar with public places. And we're very excited about the program, and we have had some
the dogs
amazing...
are born?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we're getting it what day?
November 22nd.
November 22nd. Okay.
Yep. So we'll get it out there in the public, and we're excited about the amazing support we've received from the community. It's been just great. So pedestrian crossings, I don't know if anybody has traveled on the other side of town towards St. Mary's, but we finally received our pedestrian crossings down there. So that was something we worked on months ago with some COVID funds. The city was going to pay half, and we were going to use our COVID funds, and then St. Mary's was going to pay the other half for that project. Matt's staff got them installed this week. They look great. There's a little tree that kind of blocks a little bit of one there, but we'll see how it works. You can still see on the other side of the road it still flashes. flashes, so when you come down the hill, there's a little bit of a tree blockage there, but the other side is still flashing, and as you get closer, then the flasher starts showing up pretty good. So, good project to have done. It'll really help those St. Mary's kids safely cross the road. And again, appreciate the work that St. Mary's did to come up with funds to pay for half of it. It's nice to co-op with local entities like that to try to get a project done in the city. So, other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions for the police department?
I've had a couple people ask, as far as the trunk or treat, that's gonna go on basically unless we have a torrential storm, right?
Correct, yeah.
Where's Main Street closed off, Stan, for that, for trunk or treat, from where to
It's
where?
closed off by the CBD, which would be First Avenue, all the way down to Second Avenue. Or Fourth Avenue, I'm sorry,
Right.
Fourth
This
Avenue.
road right until the end of the
Oh,
curve.
oh, okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay, anything else for the fire department? Police department? We'll move on to the fire department. Anything for chief?
Doesn't work.
Ambulance? Anything to report?
Just the note that I said during the public safety meeting that the shifts are filling up quickly and there's been some work to placate people that aren't quite getting all the shifts that they would like. So I mean, it's good news. It's great news actually that, again, it's been a while since we've had, dual coverage for all of our shifts. And again, the ability to have even more people that are available for potentially making transfers, and we had a number of those thus far this month as well, so that's really good news.
That's great.
Any questions about the ambulance? Public Works Utilities? Engineers report. Russ?
Yes, good evening. Couple quick updates. Madison Street reconstruction project design continue to be ongoing and making progress. Still on schedule for advertising that project mid-December, open bids mid-January, and that's for construction in 2024. Other project update, I mentioned previous meeting, we finished the intent to apply application through Wisconsin DNR Safe Drinking Water Fund for funding for a proposed project in 25, the water filter plant. It's a low interest loan and principal forgiveness funding request, so that'll get submitted in the next day or two here. Deadline was October 31st, so that's all I have. If anyone has any questions, we have another item on the agenda under 3, discussing with Matt.
Any questions for the city engineer? Next, move on to monthly report. Superintendent Gillis?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Our parks are now closed, everything's winterized up. The guys are moving into their fall leaf sweeping. We need to get the signs up as the chief indicated. Other than that, we're status quo. Unless you have any questions, other than what's on the rest of the agenda.
So, I have quite a couple questions.
Shoot.
The parks are just closed?
All the bathrooms are closed and the garbage cans are removed. Obviously, we don't close the shelters. If you wanna go sit in the shelter, you can go sit in the
Yeah.
shelter. If you wanna use the playground equipment, you can use the playground equipment. The amenities like the bathrooms and the band shell houses and the trash cans are closed and gone for the season.
Okay, so I have a question about the trash cans on the Riverwalk.
Correct.
Is there any way to keep those open, or it
Those
doesn't
are-
pay?
Those are fastened down, so we don't remove those. Those are currently there and they'll stay there all winter.
Yeah, no, I mean, to keep them open.
The trash cans
Yeah,
are gonna stay open on the Riverwalk.
oh, they will?
They're bolted down, we physically can't remove those.
Okay.
Compared to like the 55-gallon drums that we have scattered out all over the rest of the parks.
So I must be misunderstanding, because they're wrapped?
Last year they were wrapped. They're not supposed to, they're wrapped right now?
Yeah.
Well, they'll be unwrapped tomorrow, I'll guarantee you that.
Perfect, because people are always walking.
I was told they were gonna, I told them to keep them open, apparently they didn't listen to me.
Perfect, I love it.
They'll be unwrapped by the end of the week.
There was a failure to communicate.
Failure to communicate.
I don't know, did you, on 4th Avenue down there, by Bug's old place, Did you mention what was going on there?
Oh, for those of you that saw this afternoon, we did have some road barricades up on Madison and Fourth. We had to get some elevations on the sewer line there. Earlier in the summer, we had a collapse on that manhole, so we basically just covered it with tar. So we had to dig that tar up today so we could get some better engineering data for that manhole. It should be covered back up by now.
Yeah, it's coming back.
It is. Okay, any other questions for the city engineer? Okay, discussion and possible action regarding the 6th Avenue East engineering.
Yeah, in front of you is a proposal for 6th Avenue East. For those of you who new to this, Public Works Committee's been talking for the better part of a year and a half now about some secondary streets. There's actually a secondary street road construction plan. 6th Avenue is number 1 on that, from Prospect Street up to Washington Street. We've always had a plan to initially do that in 2024. That plan kind of has been waffled around a little bit with some of the other stuff we got going on. Coming out of Public Works though, we figured 2024 would be an ideal time to do that. We can consolidate this project into the borrowing of the Madison Street project. So tonight in front of you is the design portion of that project. We have the funds available in 2023 in our budget to start the design, and then next year we will incorporate a construction contract into it in the 24 budget. So tonight you'll see in front of you for design services for 6th Avenue from Prospect to Washington for $19,500 for Cedar Corp. Just to define this project, this is basically we'll be removing the old asphalt, we'll be subcutting, hauling in a foot of rock, all new curb and gutter, and new asphalt, and portions of sidewalk on the school side of the street, and the other side of the street will be basically fix as needed. No utilities. Minor utilities, just some patchwork. We gotta fix a manhole, but we won't be digging water main in from one end to the other.
Because there actually is water main on the hole.
There's only water main on half of it from Montgomery to Washington. There is no sewer. Excuse me, there is no sewer on that stretch. There's just a manhole in the middle of the intersection of 6th and Montgomery. There's a line that extends towards Prospect Street, probably 150, 200 feet. We do have to kind of dig down there and put a manhole in for an access point. But other than that, that's really the only underground that we'll be repairing unless something happens during construction.
So this project's for next summer also?
It'll be for next summer also, yeah. So we'll get it designed here in November, December, and hopefully get it out to bid, I'd say end of January, right, Ross? End of January into February, late February, early March bid opening, and then start construction soon as school's out, and hopefully have it all wrapped up before school starts. Keyword hopefully. And this was recommended out of Public Works, if anyone from Public Works Committee wants to speak, but they did recommend this to come forward here tonight.
And Administrator Rasmussen, do you want to quickly review how this would be paid for?
So,
the
yeah,
proposal way to pay
yeah,
for it.
because, and maybe just to back up just a little bit, so, when we talked about some of these secondary street projects, one of the initial proposals was, most of the projects were in the neighborhood of $80,000 to $100,000. We were looking at the potentiality of, just kind of putting it on the levy one time and pay it back, borrow it early in the year, then pay it back, probably even looking with a local bank. This project though, which is one of the higher priorities, is, as Matt noted, is a little closer to 260, that it's an oddball, and that it's so much longer, that it would cost so much more, so we discussed the possibility then, or the likelihood then of borrowing for this project at the same time we borrow from Madison Street. And then in future projects, we probably go back to the old way of doing it. So that's, so it would be borrowing just like Madison Street and then paying back over typically 10 or 20 years, depending on the type of bonding we use. And when we talk about with the potentiality of pool projects in Madison Street, and obviously this one as well with the Ehlers, our financial consultants.
Any more questions about it? And this one's the first one on the list, and what would be the next?
The next would be 7th East from Prospect to Wells. Then you have 6th East from Prospect to Wells, and then you basically have 5th East from Prospect to Wells. Then you jump on the other side, you have start going from Prospect to Montgomery. It's pretty much that section of town, and those one block chunks, yep.
And would you be redoing on the school side the entrances to the parking lot? So I don't have to listen to the cars bottom out?
Yes. We would, they will be getting redone, but there's only so much we can work with a parking lot elevation that's 4 feet higher than our street. So I can't promise you that. I can't promise
in front of my
you.
house, believe me, I was, oh, somebody did it again.
I can't promise you anything.
Okay, any other questions? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to go ahead with the 6th Avenue East engineering? As I said, explained in the letter, in the amount of $19,500. And of course, that is part of the total when we borrow. We'll have to figure out how exactly we're going to do it, would be part of that.
I'll make a motion we approve the engineering project for 6th Avenue East with the amount of $19,500.
Second.
We have a motion and second to go ahead with the engineering, 6th Avenue East. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Weisenbeck.
Yes.
Councilmember Hooker.
Yes.
Councilmember Weishapple.
Yes.
Councilmember Hayden.
Yes.
Councilmember Menke.
Yes.
I vote Mayor.
Okay, motion's agreed to. Next, we have discussion possible action regarding the Tarrant Park Pool Project. Well, here's the situation. I really thought some people would be here to maybe have some questions, but that's not the case. We really need to go into the closed session as it comes up next to discuss an agreement with the city. And so what I am suggesting is, unless somebody else had something else to want to say in open session before we went into, that the council will convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 1985 1E for deliberating, negotiating, investing in public funds, or conducting other specific business, whether competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, relative to the review of the discussion of proprietary information regarding the Tarrant Park Pool Project.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.